Hello.
It's probably so loud.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Perspective and Perception. How are you doing today, Olivia?
I'm doing fantastic.
Great.
How are you doing?
I'm great, and I'm Jessica, and we're here at Heart of the Hollow. My
I'm
store
Olivia.
here. Yes, Olivia. And this is gonna be like our 5th episode. Woo! We're doing it. Are you
Yeah.
ready? We're doing it. We're doing it. So we went back and forth on a lot of different ideas and topics, and to the point where like, you know what, let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about it. Because we got some weird takes on some stuff, man. I feel like, you know. Do you want to get started?
Nope. All you.
Okay,
Go ahead.
that's fine. So some of the themes that have been going on this week, obviously, there's the springtime's coming. Do you need some water?
No.
Okay. Springtime's coming up, and we have like a lot of y'all getting ready to graduate situations. There's the economy's kind of screwed up, so there's just a lot of flux right now with like relationships and all the stresses.
Men kind of suck.
Men kind of suck. I'm just kidding. No. Feminism is cancer. I'm gonna say it again. I'll say it again and again. You know, today's video, we were gonna do a topic like, what is God? Because that's like a whole thing in itself. Like, you know, because we were just talking, you know, was it you that was like, God is a woman? Okay, that whole conversation.
You said that. I didn't say that.
No, I didn't.
Like,
no, it was like into the song or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it must have been somebody else saying it. Anyways, we talked about that. And then, like she was saying with men and stuff, and then she was watching like this Andrew Tate video and was asking about this. Like, is it okay? Like, I guess it's okay if men cheat. And I'm like, no. Right. And I'm like, that's not right.
Well, before that, I was watching this podcast on YouTube, and they actually have a lot of good points and stuff. I think it's called Fresh and Fit.
What are they talking about?
They were, okay, so basically they get like a group of women on their podcast, and they talk about things that men and women usually end up having like different opinions on and stuff like that. And the whole podcast is basically like how to be like your alpha, like ultimate masculine, you know, which is great. Like, I love that they're spreading that around, because I feel like a lot of men don't know the true value of being a man, and that they should be bringing certain things to the table. For
like their roles as men.
Right. But there was like this thing, and it's got me like, not necessarily confused, but it's got me, you know, like, there's obviously going to be things in life that test your perspective and kind of make you wonder, like, what if the way that I think about certain things, maybe, you know, it's wrong, or maybe, you know, like, obviously we all have different perspectives and ideas for a reason, and we should all share that, because I feel like the more that we share our perspectives on things, the quicker that we can like find the truth for things.
Love it.
And the way that things are like actually like meant to be.
Water. Keep talking.
I don't need water. I promise
talking.
I'm fine. Okay. But in the podcast, they talk a lot about, well, not even a lot, but just in this specific episode, they were talking about how women and men show loyalty in like different ways. Thank you. And how men show loyalty by providing for that woman, and, you know, like financially and, you know, all that stuff. But women show loyalty by only devoting their sexual life to that one man.
And men are just off the hook with it.
Yeah, like they were basically saying how it's okay for men to
not be monogamous.
Yeah, like to have sex with a bunch of like different women, but for women, they should only be devoted to that one man.
Okay. Here's the thing I've noticed about Andrew Tate, like that, because I like what he says a lot of the time.
Andrew Tate, though. He did it. He does like agree with that, but that wasn't what he said. It was like this guy off one podcast.
I get that, but like Andrew Tate said similar sort of things.
Oh yeah, no, they're definitely like on the same page with things. Which I like him. I think he's cool.
I do too.
Yeah,
but a lot of those different guys like that, and it sounds like even the podcast you were talking about, their generalizations of what they have, all men are this way or all women are this way, are often just so devoid of any kind of like reality, because their views are shaped by the type of women, the type of men that they have been around. And so, and the reason I was just saying Tate, but like a lot of the different people out there who are speaking the same message you're saying about women's loyalty is this, or women should do that. It's like almost always they are hanging around such low quality women.
Right.
And it's like, I would be saying the same thing if I was a dude who watched this great, good looking woman, young woman, sleeping around and stuff. I would have an opinion on that too.
Right.
You know?
And
but it's like at the same time, they're just dismissing this whole other, I don't know. It's like over 30 and those women don't even play into the equation with some of these guys, the gurus for men right now. And it's just like, so frustrating because like you said, I agree with them on this, that, and the other. Yes, men stepping into their divine masculine and all this and being caretakers but then just somewhere the message gets off the rails.
Right.
Because at some point, and it's like, oh, you look bitter. You look like a woman has screwed you over, dude. And that's why you're speaking like that.
Like they were making all these points about how they don't want a woman who has a lot of, bodies and stuff. And I completely understand that. Like that, how they prefer someone who is like strictly saving themselves, for that man. Like I completely respect that because that's literally what I'm doing. But I guess, like, in a way, it feels very, not even I guess, it does. It feels very unfair for that to be the standard for women. But for men, you should, like, they're basically saying that if you're a woman and you're with a successful man who's very good looking and tall and perfect in all of these ways and who is providing for you, you should be able to allow them to be who they naturally are and have sex with all of these other women. And it's like,
why is that a natural state of being for those guys?
Right.
Like, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just kind of like, who are these guys kidding? Like, you could be a piece of shit, but, you make enough money. It's like, what?
I don't know. It's like, see, that's what I'm so confused about because in all honesty, that does make a lot of sense, but for some reason it still is just like rubbing me the wrong way.
It makes no sense.
No, like I'm saying it makes sense of like the way that they're saying how men and women are different and how men and women show loyalty differently.
Right.
But I don't necessarily think that means that, like, they're basically saying in the podcast that women need to lower their standards of finding a man who isn't going to go out and cheat on them. And they were like, no matter if you're rich or if you're poor, they either are going to cheat on you or they want to cheat on you. And you can't change that.
The most screwed up part of this is like they're literally grooming your generation to think that that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what happens when a husband cheats on you?
What?
It's not just like, oh, he's got enough money, he can do this. It's like, no, that's the dude bringing home diseases. That's the dude that's like, oh, surprise, I got another kid coming around.
Right.
That's the guy, oh, I fell in, they can start messing around with someone and then falling in love with them. And then you're screwed with you and your kids, like, as a wife. Like, no, there's no circumstance, unless it's, like, agreed on prior of, like, we're going to have open marriage. But there's no... Try not to cuss. It's not that high of a standard to expect fidelity in a marriage.
Right.
It's really no. Like that shouldn't.
And their whole.
It's not like this impossible standard that a man can't like not cheat on you. Well, I promise it's not that.
Their whole argument is just basically like based on biology. Men and women show loyalty differently. So I guess like, obviously since I'm 18 and I don't have a ton of, experience in life, and I'm also not.
They're counting on that so they can tell you whatever.
Right, exactly. Like they want you to not. I guess I'm just so confused because it's not like I necessarily disagree with it or agree with it. It's just that I really don't know what's true and what isn't. It's like I feel like,
we kind of like, I can't remember if we said some of this on camera or not, but I kind of think the biblical standard of I can't remember where it is in the Bible, but I know it says this, where it's husband, love your wives, and wives, respect your husband.
Right.
Because a man loves you enough, they're not going to cheat on you.
Mm-hmm. And a woman respects you enough.
A woman respects you enough, she's not going to cheat on you.
But see, that's what they're saying. It's like
those other, the actions kind of just follow your mindset. But also, your values, that's how it's expressed.
Also, another thing, though, I don't even necessarily disagree with it just because I'm a woman and I'm like, I want the man all to myself. It's also, I guess, like, discipline and giving into those, like impulses. You know what I mean?
What, for men?
Like going out and just cheating and being with all these other women.
I
saw a bug like try to directly fly in your eye. Like that was like so. Yeah.
No, come on. Here's the other part of that though, and that's why people have been saying this forever about like not going out and shit. I cannot not cuss.
Is it bad? I mean, is that
I think for the algorithm or something. I don't know, but also want to be able to show anybody this.
Yeah, that's so.
But that's either way, like I think that putting yourself in a situation like if you're going out every weekend without your spouse and you're going to be around other people and get men or women attention or whatever it is, like you're putting yourself in the situation for that.
Right.
So it's kind of like if you.
They're like in a way.
Am I making sense of like what's in your brain? And how you think and your mentality and your feelings and all your emotion is going to be expressed in action.
Right.
So what does that look like expressed in action? If somebody marries you and they loved you and this guy's like all about taking care of you, would his actions, and then he went out and cheated on you, would those actions coincide with those things that he's told you?
That's what Andrew Tate was saying. He was saying that there's a difference. He's basically saying, Andrew Tate said this. He said that, like, being loyal and then having sex with other women are two completely different things. Like he was basically saying that for a man to be loyal, he needs to provide for this woman. He needs to take care of this woman. He needs to financially support this woman and make sure that he is going to do whatever it takes to the ends of the earth to protect her.
Right.
But he's saying that just because he's going to go out and have sex with someone, it's not cheating. But if he were to provide or spend money on another woman, that's cheating. But if he goes out and just has sex with this woman and then comes straight back home and continues to provide for his
here's
wife
your
and his
chlamydia,
children,
darling.
Right.
I mean, no.
And it's like
if it was agreed to prior, I could see that. But that shouldn't be anybody's norm or standard. Like that's not a typical thing.
But then they're saying that for a woman though, they show loyalty by not having sex with other men. You know what I mean? And that's how they
Okay, so here's what I think about another part with Andrew Tate. It's kind of like similar to what we were talking about with law of attraction, funny enough. If you're always looking for that, then that's what you'll find.
Right.
And this kind of line of like, honey, I'm so loyal to you that I'm giving you all this stuff, but I'm just going to go screw this chick. It's like, I'm 23 and yeah, sure, that sounds great. And it's like you can only what I'm saying is you can only get away with that mindset. It's a self-fulfilling thing when that's the kind of woman he's around.
And see,
do you know what I'm saying?
I think that sometimes
he gives himself such a bad rap, but he has a lot of good things to say, but then we'll say stuff like that and then confuse the hell out of you as an 18-year-old woman.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like, I think the reason why I'm so confused is because I see sex as a very sacred thing. Whether you're a man or a woman, I think that sex is sacred. But then I also think, even though sex is so sacred, why were men created to want to have sex with like all kinds of different women? Like there was a study shown. Okay, this is like
they're just trying to spread their DNA.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm thinking like, what if they have a point? You know what I mean?
So a lot of different religions and different schools of theology do talk about this and talk about like fighting your human nature or finding your higher self. And that's like a lot of what you and I try to do when we're studying different spirituality stuff is speaking to our higher selves with that instead of just being slaves to our biology.
But that's what I also think about. It's like, how come we were given like our biology and human nature if we're supposed to fight against it?
Not saying you're supposed to fight against it.
Like not completely, like you're gonna have sex at some point
those
in your
urges
life.
are there for reasons, and where we pick up with it, I mean,
they're there so you can find your partner, but they're not there so you can just cheat on your wife every single night.
Possibly. So this is why
it's like we wouldn't eat if we didn't have the urge, but it doesn't mean that we should overeat and become fat as. Never mind. I can't
that is a great point. That's a very good analogy for this.
Yeah,
and that's why different theology and philosophies and stuff have a lot to say about it.
Right.
Like a lot of the Bible, Christianity, and actually Andrew Tate, he actually converted to he's a Muslim now, Islam, and I bet you his views will be very different because I don't think he's been on any podcast since he's got out of jail and that whole saga and stuff.
What did he go to jail for?
Let me finish this thought and then we'll talk about
okay,
that.
because I never actually researched that.
Bullshit.
Oh.
Just because he was just talking smack around the wrong person in a third world European country.
Oh.
Kind of. Like that's what I was saying. Hold on. We'll circle back. So with all these different religions have a lot to say about monogamy and relationships and how you should treat your partner and all these other schools of thought about it because the exact same thing that you're saying. Like, wait a minute, I feel like this is very special and sacred kind of act, but this says this about biology. This person is saying this. This is this. This sex therapist says, oh, you can do blah, which most of them are bullshit anyway. So it's kind of like, that's why even though I consider myself pagan, the morality standards set in a lot of religions when it comes to things like fidelity and how you should treat your partner and things like that. Like, there's a lot of good stuff there. And I feel like in no way have I ever heard, if you look through the expansion of history and all this other stuff, a society, if every man were to behave like Andrew Tate of like, I'm just going to go sleep around with whoever and I'll make them hoes, but I can go home and I know I've been faithful. I mean, like, that's it's so just destructive for the society, the family. And think about like let me give an example too. Let's say he was living that life of what he was talking about and he had a little girl at home. And, when I'm at home, I can be nuclear family with mom, dad, baby. So, but I'll just go out and screw whoever. Okay. In that scenario, and that little girl of his, or any other man playing out the stupid fantasy, is watching her father, watching another man just go and do whatever and be unfaithful and take off. And there's no way that you could... Does this make sense? Like,
well, okay,
you're not being a good example for society and your children and things when you're doing those kind of behaviors.
Well, I was gonna say, the way that they're talking about it in the way where men are supposed to be like that. But if you think about it this way, if every man in the world was like Andrew Tate and they all had a woman and they don't want their woman to cheat on them, then there would be no other women for them to cheat on their wife with. If every single man was like Andrew Tate, that means that every single man would be with every single woman and they think that every single woman should never cheat on them. So, but you think that you should still cheat. So you're going to cheat on them with another man's wife, even though you think that that's wrong.
Right. It's like, it sounds great, isolated in a bubble. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense when you break it down like I made it.
Okay,
right?
But also another thing I've noticed.
Thank you.
And I know that they probably bring them on the show because they want to show that there are uneducated women out there. But it always seems like in every single podcast they bring in the dumbest.
Like, and it's like, here's my boobs. Let me tell you how important I am. And it's like, shut up. You're not saying anything important.
No, but it makes me think they do it on purpose because
of course they do.
No, but listen, it's like if you bring smart women onto your podcast who actually can have good, comeback.
Productive conversation.
Right, productive conversation, then your point is going to look really dumb. But if you bring dumb girls on the podcast, you can easily make your point seem like it's the right one, and then you can make them seem stupid.
Right.
And also another thing, you know how I talk about, with self-love comes discipline?
Right.
That also means that if you really love your partner, then you would also be disciplined, right?
Sure.
Because I feel like if you think that self-love is being disciplined for yourself, wouldn't you want to also be disciplined for your partner? And that's the way I think about it. That's a great point, yeah. And like, I wish that girls on that podcast would bring up these points, but they don't. The only thing they bring up is like, well, I just feel like I deserve better than that.
I just feel like I need this man who makes like $600,000 a year and is going to take care of me and my 3 kids from 3 different...
and cheat on me all the time. I'm just kidding.
I mean, no, you're right. Yeah. They bring those women on there to make their point.
Well,
they do it for them every time because they say something completely dumb.
Well, they usually have like 1 or 2 women that are on their side, and then they'll have like 10 women that are actually like dumb, but they also are like, well, I don't want a guy that goes out and cheats on me. And I feel like in a way they try to, I don't want to say the word manipulate.
You're saying like,
I feel
baby,
like
you deserve to be cheated on if you're
No, it's like I feel like what they do is they bring women onto the podcast who are honestly just kind of like, I'm sorry, but they're kind of dumb. And then those same women that are dumb want monogamous relationships. But the thing is, if you have someone fighting against your idea but they're dumb, then everyone's going to automatically think that their point is wrong because they're already seen as dumb.
Right.
So does that make sense? But if they have a smart woman who comes on the podcast with a good reputation and very intelligent with the point of, oh, I want a monogamous relationship, then the boys that are doing the podcast, they don't, like, their opinion doesn't seem as strong.
Right.
Because that woman is also seen as smart. But if you have a dumb girl trying to fight against what you're saying, people are automatically going to be like, nah, he's definitely right. Like, fuck monogamous relationships. Like, obviously she's wrong because, like, you can clearly, because all these girls are perceived as thoughts and they don't respect themselves and all this stuff. And you know what I mean? It's like women fighting against the divine feminine. But does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing because I've seen them do that before. Instead of like, what are your thoughts on the matter? They'll be like, thoughts? And they'll like look at the girls like, THOT. Yeah. Thoughts? Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I
don't know. No, you're right. They bring them,
Yeah, like
it's all about the message, and if the wrong person is delivering out a message,
even if the low quality person is delivering the right message, since they're perceived as low quality, people will automatically choose your side over theirs. Right. But if you bring in a high quality person with that same argument, people might be more likely to be like, wait, maybe she has a point. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think in a lot of these podcasts, like all these girls are the exact same.
Oh, like, they're cookie cutters.
I have yet to see one girl in their podcast that actually seems like a very high quality, divine feminine woman.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, okay, so maybe there's a reason for that. And with all their other videos, they make such good points on, like, you know, masculine and feminine and alpha and all that stuff. But this one thing, it's like, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't, I don't know if it's clicking. Like, I can't really tell, you know, because, like, of course.
Just remember, like, they do those purposely, like, it's a purposeful manipulation to prove their own point. Whether you know what I'm saying, like, it's constructed, it's crafted to look the way it looks.
Every time a girl had an opinion about something, they were like, okay, but either way, like, it's facts. Like every time a girl had a different opinion from them, they'd be like, okay, that's fine, but what I'm saying is just facts and you can't change that.
I mean, I've never even seen him talk to a woman his own age, and he's not like even that old.
Who?
Like
Andrew?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, Andrew didn't say that, but yeah.
Or, okay, any of the women on there, like, I've seen men that looks like they're late 20s or 30s, and all the girls.
Why are they all bald? Every single one. They're all bald. I've noticed that. Every single one of them. Like, none of them are actually conventionally attractive. I mean, I personally think that Andrew Tate's really fine, but I don't know. Like, I do like the masculine energy that he emits. It's very attractive. But the other ones, like, it seems a little bit more, like, childish. Also, another thing, Andrew Tate has been the only person that I've seen on a podcast where when women are, like, trying to explain their point of view, he's not just sitting there busting out laughing at them.
No, he is respectful.
Yeah,
like, a lot of times.
But then on the other podcast, the one that I was watching, where they were saying, like, men and women show loyalty differently, those boys were like, they were just laughing a lot of the time when girls were trying to talk about, and I understand, like, some of the times when they were laughing, like, I would be laughing too. I'd be like, this girl looks real dumb right now. But other than that,
it's like, don't bring someone on your show just to laugh at
but
them.
It's like, it's very frustrating because I've noticed that a lot of boys that I know, when they laugh at you, when you try to share your opinion, that is one of the most unattractive things ever. But when a man will genuinely sit there and be like, okay, you
respectfully listen.
Yes. And you can, I like when instead of laughing at them, I like when a man is like, I would much rather a man sit here and be like, okay, but I think you're wrong. I would much rather a man say that than just laugh and be like, okay, right, keep living in your fantasy. It's like, it's not about that. Like, if women and men are made differently, we're going to live through life having different views on certain things.
Right.
And I feel like it's more progressive to have a good conversation rather than just laughing.
I feel like, and I want to kind of define something too, because how we were saying, like, oh, this is dumb, and we just didn't have a good word for it. It's more like this. Someone who comes in who is completely sure of their opinions, regardless of any other outside factors, regardless if, if they think that they are right without looking at all the evidence and listening, respectfully listening to each other. That's what I mean by dumb.
That's
of like, come on,
I've,
like use your rational thought.
Right.
At all for something.
That's why I've never been 100% set on anything, because unless you've gone through every single perspective there is to go through in life, then you really can't ever be 100% sure about anything. And that's just my opinion. The one thing that I am 100% sure about is love is the answer to like 99% of things, maybe even 100. And like, I feel like people won't understand what I mean when I say that, but I'm not really going to go into detail to try to explain it. I'm too tired. Maybe in another video. But, you know, it's like there's certain things that we, you know, can be 100% on without having every perspective in the world. But I feel like a lot of things like that really comes from your perspective. And he was saying that if you have a high value, you know, rich man, he's either gonna cheat or he wants to cheat, and you can't change that. And he was saying, and there was like a lot of comments being like, okay, well, like, you know, you wouldn't know because you don't come from like a broke place or whatever. And he was basically saying how he's seen both perspectives and he still feels that way.
Well, I just feel like a high quality man wouldn't lie to you.
Right. But that's the thing, like I think like they are saying that when they do get in a relationship with someone, they're gonna make it known, like, hey, I'm gonna see other people. Like, that's
a whole different thing.
They're not, basically what they're saying is they're not saying they're gonna cheat on their partners. They're saying that they're gonna openly say, hey, I am going to be sexually active with other women while we're together, and if you don't like that, you're gonna have to leave. So like, they're not saying I'm gonna cheat on them with it behind their back. They're just saying that they should be able to have multiple partners, and their partner should be okay with that because they're a man and the way that they operate are different than a woman. And I completely understand that. Like, I agree with that, but I don't necessarily know if, I don't know. Like, it's not even really that I disagree. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
I feel like that's very sad for you to be absorbing that kind of message because it's just not true.
Right.
It's just not true.
And I feel like we have so much misguidance in life on relationships and
sex in general. And you know what's really crazy is when I listen to I'm just using Tate because but all those other kind of male
he's
motivational
like a representation
speakers.
Of all the other
right
ones, basically.
But a lot of them have really good points to make about like, men, get up and do what you need to do, don't settle for less at work, take care of yourself, take care of your environment, become a healthy person, take care of your children,
provide for your woman,
all these other kind of stuff.
For sure.
And then they'll be like, hey, women, expect for a guy that makes six figures to cheat on her, you know, and it's just kind of like, what? They get to a point with a lot of that stuff, and then when it comes to giving relationship advice to women and to men, it's like, a little, what? No. Yeah. If you're going to do like Spartan lifestyle, like, I don't know if you know what I mean, about how he's just hardcore about everything. He's like, even though I don't feel like it, I'm going to get up and do what I need to do because it needs to be done. Like, yes, there's definitely a place for that. Yes, that is part of the masculine, divine masculine, like we've just been discussing. But yeah, and then it just gets off the rails, and that's really disappointing.
And then it just gets off the rails.
It really is. And actually, and I've used this for other people too, and I know you probably heard me say that. I think I did get it from Andrew Tate, where so many people, they'll be like trugging along trying to get a goal accomplished, and they're like almost there, and they're wanting to give up.
Right.
And I say, look, a rocket ship doesn't stop halfway to the moon.
Right. It keeps going.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like true and stuff like that about motivational, about getting up and going and doing what you need to be done. Like, hell yeah. But then he says stuff like that. It's like,
I don't know.
I know.
And then it's like, I'm also confused because then I'm like, okay, what if I'm only against it because I've been brainwashed into thinking that monogamy is normal, and what if it isn't?
Yeah.
But then the other side of me is like, okay, but what if monogamy is normal, and then having multiple partners is actually weird. And then I have like a third part of me where it's like, maybe some people are meant to be monogamous and other people aren't. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure, because could be, like you said, I am not in everybody's brains enough to know. Like,
and also we're all here for different missions.
Right.
And that's another thing. So, I mean, I don't know. I really get caught up in the whole battle of what if life is complex for everyone? And then the other idea is, what if life isn't complex and life is supposed to be the same for every species? You know what I mean? Like no matter what, if you're a woman, you're going to feel this way. Or no matter what, if you're a man, you're going to feel this way. Like, I never know what if it is different for everyone, or what if it actually is the same.
That's a good point. Because I feel like everyone is so unique as an individual.
For sure.
And that whether it's them giving relationship advice or women or whoever is giving, like, just here's a relationship, all men are this, all women are that, or you should do this for a man, you should do that for a woman. Everybody is a human. And those are going to be all so very different. Have you ever met any human who's the exact same as another human? No,
but I feel like
there are tendencies of different sexes to do this, that, and the other.
Right.
But every single human is going to embody their divine masculine or their divine feminine in their own expression, their own. If we look at it, and this is kind of something I believe, and we could go back to our original topic of what is God.
Oh yeah, we never talked about.
Well, I know we went this direction instead.
Yeah, well,
but part of that is, I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. If we're all a spark of the divine and a bit of God in ourselves,
right,
and we are just another expression of God, how could any one other human advice say all of this genders this and all of just genders that, and that's the advice you have to follow in order to woo that man or woo that woman?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me, because everyone is such an individual. Every case is so unique and different.
And then it makes me sad, because then movies like Twilight exist, and then when you see these podcasts, it's like, wait, so it isn't like that in person? Like, so you're saying a vampire boy isn't gonna come and sweep me off my feet? That's kind of disappointing, but like, whatever. I'm kidding. Like,
I know.
I don't know though. Maybe vampires do exist. I think about that sometimes.
I think energy vampires exist.
No, yeah, energy vampires definitely do, but it's like, come on, bro. There's got to be one person out there with fangs that, like...
But wasn't Edward like 100 and something, and Bella's like 17 or something?
Oh, but he's like so... Sorry, he's so...
Who?
Edward.
So... What is it about the Twilight thing? Is it like this rescuing her thing, or is it the obsession?
It really is just...
I want to pick this apart.
Yeah, that's kind of embarrassing, because
No, I don't know that much about it. I've only seen like the first one like years ago.
No, but like if you say that you like Twilight these days, people will immediately be like, ew. So I'm putting a lot on the line. I'm putting my reputation on the line.
Oh no.
But so I watched Twilight. Let's just get that out of the way. I love that movie. It's honestly, See, this is what I was afraid of.
Tell me why you love
people
Edward.
like you. But I really like the movie because the love between them is so intense and just so real. And it's like, and I know a lot of people make fun of Twilight for the acting, or they'll make fun of it for whatever. Honestly, I don't really think there's anything wrong with the acting. I personally think it's incredible. And I've learned that Twilight, the actors were able to capture certain emotions that people in our generation don't even understand, like the depth of those emotions. And they're so quick to judge the movie and be like, this movie's so effing cringe, like, ew, they're acting. It's like, no, like, that's what real love looks like. That intensity that they have between each other, that's real love. And then it's like when people, like, I mean, this is so random. I'm just saying, like, when people come after that movie, I understand why they do, okay? Like, I understand it is cringy to some people, like, oh, a vampire falls in love with a girl, this and that. I understand that. But just, like, the connection between them is immaculate. It's great. And they're also a really good version of masculine and feminine. Like, I like movies that portray...
They're just unapologetic, like, I'm a girl trying to figure things out.
Like, they're like, so... Okay.
So it was the connection between the two of them is what draws you into it. It's just like they got each other. They fit together. Like, she was very this and he was
like
this.
Like Bella, who is the girl he falls in love with, right? She's so, like, is it called receptive? When you... Yeah. She's so receptive, and she's just so, like, feminine and calm and flowy.
Him who he...
Yeah. Okay. And then Edward, he's just, like, the protector and provider. And I like that it portrays, like, I guess the reason why I like Twilight so much is because it portrays what I think normal relationships are supposed to look like. I'm not saying normal as in like don't be fruity, but I wasn't even going that direction.
What?
But like, fruity as in like.
Well, I just made those eyes. You're like, I think Twilight of this like century-old vampire and this teenager. It's like that's just so real. It's so ideal.
No, not like a
I
100-year-old being with a 17-year-old. I don't mean that.
I know.
But I mean like just.
You're talking about the way that they complement each other.
Yes.
And it sounds like too, what you're trying to describe is he really genuinely loved her and took care of her and protected her.
And he did everything to the ends of the earth. And I think the reason why actually this is a great, okay, guys always make fun of girls for loving that movie, but I think the reason why girls love that movie so much is because we are supposed to be wanting a guy who can protect us and provide for us. And they want to make fun of us for that, but it's like that is our natural state.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, for me, my natural state, because I'm a woman, like, I want a guy who can provide and take care of me, and I will give him whatever he needs as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that is literally the connection between them. Like, she gives him, like, all the love and all this stuff, and he always protects and provides for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, I've noticed that all of the romantic movies that we are obsessed with, a lot of them is the divine masculine and feminine.
Right.
And we're obsessed with that because our natural state, that's what we crave.
Right. And there is the movies that are like chick flicks.
That are like really cringy.
A lot of the time.
He's gay, but I still love him.
What movies are you watching? What are you talking about?
He's bisexual. We're perfect for each
Who?
other.
What movie is this?
Just a lot. There's so many.
I don't know. I don't watch enough movies.
I don't know. I've decided.
I was gonna say.
I don't think bisexual men do it for me.
I don't know. So back to the point with those movies that really speak to women.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're not necessarily the damsel in distress of like, oh, I need a man to come rescue me per se. It's like the ones that really click with us are the man is complimenting. Mm-hmm. It's like you fulfill each other's kind of.
I would love to be saved by
together. Well,
I'm not saying I need saving, but like I would gladly push myself off of a building so I can get saved by a horse. That sounded really bad, actually. Never mind.
What up, Chris
that,
Evans?
That like took a bad turn because now I'm gonna like trigger.
Like,
never mind. Just, like,
go catch my friend's falling. Go catch her.
Like that's how the movies are. So it's like, or like with Bella, she almost got hit by a truck and then Edward came and saved her. So if I can just get someone from school to like swerve and like almost, maybe he'll.
You're gonna try to be like, so it's like a trap. 30 vampires in this school.
Pour water on them. Are they melting?
That's witches.
I know. Like, same thing.
Same thing.
Like, we got like totally off topic.
I think that you're talking about they glisten in the sun or something.
Yes, like
None of that makes sense.
Like, why
what you talking about on your podcast today? Let's see, Bella Thorne, Andrew Tate, not Thorne. What's her name? What's her name? Bella. Whatever. Bella and Edward. Andrew Tate, divine masculine. We talked about Islam.
So many.
Then I gave Olivia the giggles.
That's so.
And then we talked about thoughts.
People are like, what?
Thoughts in their boobs.
I was like, which thought? Like thinking or like? I'm like literally crying.
That's a joke I made earlier.
I'm literally crying. Look at that. Like I'm literally crying. Anyways.
Olivia said to me the other day, I'm so funny. People keep saying I should be a comedian.
Why would you put that out there? Now everyone's gonna be like, you're not funny. Like everyone's gonna tear me down immediately.
Who's watching? That's it.
Nobody's watching anyway.
All right, I won't finish the joke. I'll continue next time. Okay. We're so off topic. I love it. Come watch Jessica and Olivia laugh on our podcast. It's so much fun.
But like, I mean, we kind of are on topic though with the whole.
We're very much on topic.
Yeah.
I do want to say something else because I just looked at your awesome notes. You have the best handwriting ever.
This is
ever.
not. No, this.
I
is
know, but it just reminded me of something because she wrote down manifestation, and we had talked about this briefly. But I want to talk about when you're looking for those type of men, when you are looking for those type of women, that's what you're gonna find.
Right.
So it's like we've talked about with manifestation and law of attraction and all this other stuff. It's like where attention goes, energy flows kind of thing.
You know, and I would prefer to find a high value rich man that maybe doesn't cheat on me.
I don't think that's an impossible ask. I really do.
But according to them, it's like 1 in 100. But I mean, there's like 1 billion people on this planet, so 1 in 100, I'll gladly take
like
it.
9 billion.
I will gladly take that 1 in 100.
I think that it's more valuable to. Okay, you have to look at like age, demographics, and all that, the world that they're coming from.
Yeah.
There's a difference of like okay, I am a 36-year-old man looking, and I've made all this money independently, and and I just want a good-looking wife who's gonna stay home and whatever. Versus if you were to find someone who was closer to your age and closer to the same goals and dreams, there's a difference in that man just going to look for the younger woman versus if you found a man and you guys started building a life together and grew your wealth together, grew your prominence, grew all these different things together.
Right.
And then whether he's working or you're working or however things go, it's growing into that wealth and into your life as one
also
is a huge difference as well.
And this is completely fine, but I think that they're living life fully based on animal instincts and the way that we are as creatures. Yeah. And that, like I said, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But I think that they have to, not have to, but I think that they should understand that a lot of people these days aren't primarily living based off of their, you know, like animal instincts. And
people want something deeper.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like on the spiritual aspect side of things, it's like we as humans, we naturally crave that depth of love. Mm-hmm. And another thing, I think we've been programmed in so many ways, whether it's the food we eat or the things that we're consuming online. I think that we have been programmed to, like, honestly, not necessarily crave that depth of love or not even be able to reach that depth of love. And so I think it would be, I mean, if they're making it, think about it. If it all starts with the man and, you know, if the man isn't doing good, then the whole family dynamic is going to be effed up, right? So it's like if the man's falling down, the woman's falling down, and the kids are falling down. Right. So it's like, wouldn't men be the main target then? Because if you can destroy the man, whether it's through what they're consuming or food that you're eating, if they can destroy the man first, then they can destroy everything else that follows along with it.
That's what I was talking about when we were talking about in the last episode, where the state tries to step in, fulfill that role of men and like things like welfare and social programs and all this other stuff. And, you know, on the outside, it looks like, oh, we're helping women and children, but also we're removing the man from that equation and removing his responsibility. Then he feels lost because he doesn't have anyone to provide for. And you're absolutely right. It creates this skewed family dynamic from that.
I just feel like bringing other women into the household isn't, like, not even in the household, but just
into the equation of like your union of what you're supposed to be,
of your family that you have created. Because
what are you showing your children, like,
right? And also another thing, I have always believed that when you have sex with someone, that you can exchange energy. Mm-hmm. And even if I'm not having sex with all these other guys and I'm saving myself just for you, every time we have sex, I'm also exchanging energy with all the girls that you have had sex with. Yeah. So why would I? If I am a high value woman and I am in my divine feminine, why would I want to bring in that energy into my life? Yeah,
why would you disrespect yourself like that?
Of all of the wounds and all of the diseases and all of the hurt and the pain that those women are carrying that are transferring into that man, and then that man's transferring into me. Mm-hmm. You know, if that wasn't, and I believe that's a thing, but if that wasn't a thing, I wouldn't really be so worried about it. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't just want my man not sleeping with other women because, oh, jealousy, whatever. It has so much more to do than that. It's like building a family, making sure that we are focusing on our family. Right. And, you know, also discipline has so much to do with it. Like, I want a man who can be highly disciplined because I'm trying to achieve being a woman who is disciplined. You know what I mean? And I also,
that's a good standard.
And I also don't want to exchange energy with that man and all of the other hoes that he's been with. Like, that's just not, it's really not something that turns me on. Like, I'm going to be completely honest.
Right.
And in the podcast, they're talking about it in the way where, like, yeah, like, women aren't attracted. This is the thing. It is human nature that women are not going to be very attracted to men who don't get a lot of girls. Personally, for me, I agree with that. If you're a man and you're not really getting a lot of girls because you're not doing what you need to do
Who
in order.
said that?
Said what?
That a man's not attractive unless he's with a lot of girls.
No, not with a lot of girls. I'm saying, like, if that man literally can get no one on the planet because he's so low quality, like he has, he cheats on his girlfriend.
Like he's a high quality man that he's valued by other women.
Right, like he eats a bunch of junk food. He still lives in his mom's basement. This and that, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not attracted to that. Right. I do find it attractive when a man, it's the same for men. There's been so many studies showing that men will value women more when they see that other men are also coming after that woman. Like when you see a man and he has women that do want him, that is attractive. But what's not attractive is when he's giving into all of those women. That's the thing. I do find it attractive when a man is being chased by a lot of women, because it's showing, yes, like I'm not seeing other people show your.
That's kind of like what we were talking about with manifestation, though, about like a lot of energy towards this person. Like, it makes them, what is it about them?
And I feel like a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you shouldn't allow other people to prove like your self-worth. But it's like, yeah, but realistically, like your worth is going to go up more when you see that other people are also coming after that person. Yeah. If I see a guy and all these girls want him, that automatically makes me very attracted to him. But I don't find it very attractive when he's just going out and sleeping with all of these other girls just because he's a man and he shows loyalty different. Or, like everything that we've literally been talking about. Yeah. So does that make sense?
No, that totally makes sense. And I think what we're going to see as well, since he did convert to Islam and all that, with Tate, like we were talking about, I think we're going to see a whole different type of verbiage coming out of like what men and women expect. And sorry, that's
one sees, the other is an understanding. Okay. What does that mean?
I'm not sure. Either way, we're getting all thrown off. Yeah. I got all thrown off on what I was saying. No, I think that
it was about Islam.
Yeah.
When he can.
Yeah, because we were talking about how Andrew Tate, like how he was speaking on women before versus now that he's had time where he's been locked up, self-reflecting, just sitting there reading the Quran. And all these other podcasts and stuff that we were looking at. And of course, since he is the ringleader of all that, when other people start hearing his message change, I just really feel like that's coming.
Right.
You know?
For sure. But
I know. I was thinking about something else and then I got distracted
by the comment.
I need to like not look at the comment.
There's actually, I think there's a way.
No, that's fine. Yeah. No, we are just about wrapped up from that, though. I think this has been really...
I think it was productive.
Very productive.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still confused because at the end of the day, it's like...
A perception ability sees what others don't. No.
A perception ability sees what others don't. As a result, that perceptive person has a different perspective or understanding. Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's literally what we've been. That's kind of what we've been talking about. That's literally why we labeled it perception and perspective.
Yes.
So cool. I think now we're affirmed that we're not the only ones that are understanding what we're saying. Maybe
I know we're not. Today's been really fun, just talking about the difference between. Why do we always end up going to? It's literally your title. Yeah. Yes, let's see. Thank you. Final thoughts on anything? We've touched a lot. We always end up going back to feminism as cancer. I'm just kidding.
I immediately leave.
No, sorry. No, literally just talking about the divine masculine. I know what I was going to say. It's a very important point. We've been sitting here saying, not hating, but more or less dissecting and analyzing how all these, different, these men are hearing that you can go out and cheat on your woman if you're a high quality man, you make a lot of money, all this other stuff. Okay. And it's doing a lot of damage to a woman like yourself. You're 18, you're getting ready to experience the world. And this is the type of bullshit you're hearing.
Right.
So what gives me hope is us doing a podcast like this, where you're actually hearing from a woman and like getting another perspective of it. Because if all you're seeing is those thoughts at the table,
Well, you know what's also
on these other podcasts, then that's going to be your entire.
You know what's also kind of scary to think about though? Like the fact that since our brains are machines, like people know that when they're putting out content, there's a lot of people not even easily influenced, but if our brain is a machine, that really does mean that the information that we are consuming has an impact on our brains and how we think, whether we want to accept it or not. And a lot of people are like, no, you can never change my mind. It's kind of like, this is a bad example, but like gay conversion camp, it's like, I mean, of course people say it doesn't work. I don't know because I'm not gay, but I'm just saying it's like there are so many things that really do impact like the way that we think and what we're consuming impacts what we're thinking.
Like a TV program.
Yes, and when you are and when everyone is on this grind, like all over TikTok, everyone's on this grind of like making money, and a lot of people are starting to hop on board with like the divine masculine and feminine. But then you come across these videos that are almost like abusing the divine masculine and feminine, saying since there's divine masculine and since you should follow your husband and respect his orders, that means that he should be able to cheat on you. But since you're the woman and you're divine feminine, you can't do that. You have to respect him, and you cannot get.
That's such a perversion of what love and divine masculine and feminine actually is.
It's like a perversion of what feminine and masculine is. That's how I feel about it.
And it's for profit, and it's for views.
And also, I feel like for shock factor, they know that you'll make money.
Yeah. Like they're not gonna bring on a woman like me on the what is it? Whatever podcast.
Fresh and Fit.
Whatever. No. I could not see that. Please invite me on. Like, come on. They wouldn't. They wouldn't because it doesn't support the narrative that they want.
They want the dumb bimbos on there.
Right.
No shade to anyone on there. I don't know them personally, but just.
I won't be surprised if they get paid to like just don't open your mouth too much.
No, but it also surprises.
Don't make any really good points.
Right. Don't make any really good points. Just
sit there and put your tits on the table. No. It'll be fine.
Is that what we should do?
No, I'm not doing that. Come on, Panama City.
I don't even have any, so it's fine.
No. Oh my. Okay. So we're going to get off of here. Yeah. Save us some more comments. Maybe I'll respond. All right. Thank you so much for being here, Olivia. Mm-hmm. Thanks for coming to Heart of the Hollow podcast. And this has been another amazing episode of Perception and Perspective.
Bye.
Bye.